I didn't realize Riley was your daughter.
It's weird that our daughters are best friends.
Why didn't you tell your daughter we used to be friends?
Why didn't you?
I didn't tell Sophie because she thinks friendships last forever.
And I didn't tell Riley because she knows nothing does last forever.
We have to move back to Ohio in a few weeks.
Please make our daughters so happy and marry me.
And it would be crazy to pretend to be a couple.
That's why everyone would believe it.
What will my teacher say?
Well, you know all of that love is love jazz that they teach you at school?
Marry, like, share one bedroom?
Separate bedrooms.
We thought that the girls might like it, so kind of sort of rented it.
You rented that? For us?
Oh, no. For the girls, it's no big deal.
It's the nicest thing anyone has ever done for me and my daughter.
Our daughter.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm here with SanGiovanni. She is a fantastic creator, and all her wonderful submissions in the festival this year are greatly appreciated and very welcome. So let's begin by speaking about them.
Thank you, first of all. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for taking the time to speak with me and with the audience. I appreciate you.
Hi, everybody out there.
Yes. So you submitted 3 entries, a lovely feature film, a short film, and a script. I'm sorry, a short script and a feature screenplay as well. How did you get your start in the industry? Where did your passion come from? Let's begin at the beginning.
All right. So the beginning is all these stories typically for me start out as books or novels. So the one that I actually made the film out of was actually not a book, but the Greetings from Jamaica one is actually from my first book through Bywater Books, and it's part of a 3-part series of novels that have been out and about for a while. The third one just came out this past spring, so it's from a trilogy. And then the other one was just a just an original idea that I just got the idea one day. What if 2 people were kind of trapped together and had to maybe get married and didn't expect that to happen, and then things turn as stories do, and it starts to become a real marriage. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to do that? So that's where all my stories start. And the other part is I do like to write. I like to write for everybody, but I like to write love stories that anybody hopefully might enjoy. But I definitely love to write for the LGBTQ community because they're just a bit underserved, especially when it comes to film. When you think of how many rom-coms are out there,
Yeah.
there's just, you really can't even hold a candle to that amount for that group of folks. So I like to create stories that might be of interest, especially to folks.
Fabulous. Yeah, that's really the ethos of this festival, for how underserved and underrepresented women are and the LGBTQ community. I think it goes beyond representation. It really speaks to the equality in the matter,
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we all, we can't, we all have to make it together. There shouldn't be an I in the word film.
That's right.
It really does take a community to make something of any scope, even a short, happen, so it's really about just knowing how to respect and collaborate with one another, regardless of gender or, any other specification. But Yeah, so no, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely. Without collaboration, forget it. I mean, you really can't make a film. You just can't. Even if financially you had all the money in the world, which I do not. The film was made on a micro budget, which means I put a little money in to just barely get done what had to get done, but everybody worked for free to make this film. Everybody. And that was a lot of hours, especially my camera, my cinematographer, and who was also my editor, who I went to. We both went to RISD together back in the day, Rhode Island School of Design, and I called him out of the blue because I had been an actor in one of his student films, and I called him up and I said, Paul, I have an opportunity to, you know, shoot a film with some local actors, some Boston actors that agreed to just read it, online. And everybody said, wow, we should make this film. And I was like, I don't know how to make a film. Anyway, I called him, and over the phone, he just said, of course I'll do it. Of course I will. I couldn't believe it. And the actors, put in so much time and energy, and, it all came together. And when you think about how many films get financed that have nothing to do with women's stories, I was just thrilled to have a little film to put out there.
No, you did certainly a great job. So let me get this straight. This was your first time directing,
Yeah,
right?
because I had a director slated for it, and then she got an HBO project to work
Wow.
on, and that was the end of that. And it was all going to go belly up, and I went, I guess I'm a director now. So
I love it. I love it.
that's
Oh
how
my,
that went down. Yeah, it was
see,
either that or just walk away. And so I, read a bunch of books and crammed like you would for an exam, and did the best that I could. And everybody was patient because they really wanted to make it. And it was nerve-wracking, but it was fun and scary and all that.
okay,
Yeah.
we're good. Goodbye. No, I
Exactly.
just that's just for me again, this that so underlines again what this festival is about is if like, uh don't ask permission. Just
That's
go
right.
out there,
Go for it.
go for
Just
it.
go for it and do it with whatever you have. We didn't have the best camera. We didn't have, professional lighting. We had a little bit of experience in all of the areas. And as I said, I did have a trained cinematographer, which was great. But outside of that, the audio, like we had to do what we could do in the moment. And there comes a point too where you're like, oh, maybe this isn't perfect, but a lot of projects, from what I understand and a lot of the reading that I did, die on the vine if you don't just say, I am going to finish this and it's going to happen. And the editing took like over a year. So it was a lot of time after the shooting. The shooting was 2 long weekends. The writing was 2 long years, and back and forth, back and forth. And then, of course, I had to cut it down, to be a shorter film. And then, I'm at this stage where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to put it out there and see what happens. And I was thrilled to find out that I got into your festival, because I love any festival that focuses on the female vision of what could be out there in film.
Fabulous. Thank you. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, much appreciated. It's funny because you had sent in the short script for Sibling Rule. And I was like, wow, this should be a feature. And I think I wrote on your notes, please make this into a feature.
Yeah. Thank you.
And
Thank
then you
you.
turned around and you
Yeah. So the film that I made was really only about 36 pages, and somehow it turned into 52 minutes. So it was always intended to be a short. It's kind of a long short, so in some cases people might consider it a feature because it's over 40 minutes or 20
Right,
minutes, whatever that mark is. It's very arbitrary what different festivals call a short or a long or a feature.
right.
But I do have the feature version, which I would love to use this film as a proof of concept to hopefully, make something with a little money behind it so that it actually, looks more polished. But for what we had, I'm thrilled in how it all came together. You can't be too fussy or you'll never finish anything, right?
Wow. Yes.
It's
No,
true.
exactly. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think all artists suffer from perfectionism, and
Absolutely.
I do use the
Absolutely.
word suffer purposely. Yeah, because it's just suffering for them, right?
It's true. It's painful, isn't it? When you just can't walk away from it. So I also paint and draw and all of that. And so you have to you got to be at some point move on to the next thing and be okay with it and just move on, because I do see a lot of folks who try their hand at, whatever, writing or whatever they're trying that's artistic, just wanting to hold on to it. And sometimes it's fear. Like if I finish it, then I've got to do something with it, and then I got to get out there, and I have to put it out there, and then people are going to criticize it, or maybe whatever. You got to do it anyway. And it was a huge learning curve, and we filmed it during COVID, so that was
Wow.
tricky.
Oh,
And
I didn't know that part. Yeah.
yeah, a
How did
huge
you? Yeah.
yeah, it was a crazy thing that happened. There was a wonderful group called the Zoom Performers Group, and a bunch of actors started the Zoom Performers Group to keep their acting chops up during COVID. So, what they would do is they would offer it as a service to writers. If you want to hear your script read out loud, get in touch with them, and they cast it and they do it right there on Zoom, and they read it live, and you get to hear what works and what doesn't work and what you should fix. And it's just an amazing, it's a good service for them too, because they get the experience of
Right.
acting in front of whoever shows up to listen and watch. And somehow it turned into, why don't we make a short film? And everybody was wanted to be on board. We had two kid actors that were fantastic. We had two SAG actors from Boston that were wonderful, and a newcomer who really held her own, I thought. So we just said, what the heck, if they're all willing to do it, who am I to say let's not give it a try? So
Brilliant, brilliant. Meant to
yeah.
be. It just comes together sometimes if you just put one foot forward, you know. Yeah.
Absolutely. And at the time when I first started writing novels, I always thought, I'm only writing this so it'll be made into a film. That was my goal. I thought, I can't make a film because I don't have, gobs of money, and I don't have a studio, and I don't live on the West Coast, and all the don't haves. But I thought, I'll write it cinematically, I hope. And then at some point, maybe it'll grow up to be um, a few films out there. So I always wanted to go into filmmaking, but never really had an opportunity. So my advice would be, if you can make a short, because it makes you realize, that you can do it. It, may not be perfect, but you can do it. And then, the next one, I'll know a lot more. So,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I heard David Lynch once say, it's some films are worth to make even if it's on a credit card. It's
Yep.
worth it because I mean, short or long, right? It's a short film is just a shorter version. You know the process for the next feature,
That's right. And
Yeah.
learned
Yeah.
so much, so many things that I would, do a little bit differently and save myself a lot of grief on the editing side, like just shoot way more than you think you're going to need. If you get it on the first take, don't be that cocky. Take another three takes, because in the editing room, maybe you drop a word or something. There's a background sound that you didn't hear at the time. There's so many things that could go wrong,
Right.
to be able to have those extra pieces. And that makes for, unfortunately, longer shooting days. But in the end, it would have saved, a lot of trouble. So those are the tricks that you only learn by falling on your face. So, which
Right.
is what I
Right.
did many times.
Wow.
So,
Wow. No, well,
yeah,
again, beautiful, beautiful work. So,
thank
I
you.
mean, I hear it in your voice. You're ready for the next production, right? You're ready
Absolutely.
to.
Absolutely. I already have the script, and I already have, it partially cast, and I have a location. The best thing you can do is to write for a location that somebody will let you use, because I'll tell you, in the first, doing my first film, we almost got kicked out a few times. We did it guerrilla style. We didn't ask permission. We just showed up, shot our stuff, and got the heck out, because we just didn't, we didn't have the time to, really run around and get permits
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all
yeah.
that stuff. Um, and you just try to be smart about it. You have everybody sign something that says that nobody's at fault if somebody trips, and you just try to be smart. And then some of it you have to take the risk. And those are the funny memories too, where we're like, oh my God, we almost got thrown out of there and we got chased away a few times. And anyway, but it's just fun to remember.
Fortune rewards the brave.
Right. No one's coming to my door saying, hey, can I help you make this? I had to just go to other people's doors and go, we're just going to stand here for a minute. Do you mind?
Yeah.
See what happens. Yeah, so it's good.
Wow. And do you feel at liberty to discuss what that next project is in a little bit more detail, or you want to keep it under wraps right now?
No, I will. It's fine. I feel like ideas are just ideas and so meant to be shared eventually. So basically the name of it is called Retreat. And it's about a story of two women that meet at a retreat and find that they have been connected by a tragedy in their past, and they don't know it until the story unfolds. And my sister was kind enough to let me, or is going to be kind enough to let me shoot it at her log cabin house in the woods that really does look like a log cabin retreat. And she'll make all the food and provide some accommodations, and we're just going to do it on a shoestring like we did last time, because honestly I don't expect anybody to fund you know I don't want to go out to family and friends and say, well, what will you do to fund my hobby, or anything like that. I want to make it and then see what happens after that, and see if somebody likes the story enough to do the feature version and actually put some money in it and do all that. So that's kind of the approach I'm taking, is really just get the story out there. And if it's a short version, it's a short version. And so that'll probably be my next project. And then I'm trying to pursue trying to get the books looked at in a few venues, maybe a TV series that runs through all three books, or a lot of ideas, but who the heck knows? I mean, all this stuff is a long shot. You just have to do it and see what happens. So.
And that's the most, sometimes that's the hardest part, is that first step, getting past all that, should I go that way? Should I go this way? Who will respond? How do I get them to, filmmakers are faced with a lot. So yeah, but at the end of the day, everybody has to realize their own power.
You do, and I think your project has to be something you're passionate about. And fortunately or unfortunately for me, what I'm passionate about writing may not be so mainstream, so it's a little bit more of an uphill battle, but it also makes the project a little more original, I think. So you're not fighting that boy meets girl, or the typical stories that are out there in hundreds and thousands, but on the challenging side, it's a little harder to get production companies to put money behind female stories in general. And so I'm hoping that the world's changed a bit, certainly since I started the book series, which was in 2007 right up to 2023. So lots happened in that time, and so now I'm thinking no excuses if I don't try to put it out there. So
exactly
the mission,
yeah,
people like you doing the work to get these festivals together. And I can't even imagine all the work that must be, all the networking you have to do, just to get this interview together, like the emails you have to send and the planning. So thank you. And people like you that are passionate about, getting work noticed and recognized and just shared for whatever happens, even if it's just somebody liked the story and hadn't seen it before. It's so worth it. And thank you for all that you've done to do this.
I thank you. I thank you so much. Yeah, no, we all just, especially how many lessons learned during COVID, just do everything now. And I just feel it raises a community to help each other.
Sure does.
It's just about getting energy and momentum out there, and focusing on the positive to get things to the next level. I know it kind of sounds cliche, but I mean,
Cliche for a reason,
yeah, I guess
right?
so. I guess so.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the idea that, everybody is sort of pursuing the same goal together. And I can't wait to see the other films in the festival. I'm just looking forward to the whole thing. Um, love it. And I do appreciate, I know I kind of have a little idea of what goes on in the background of putting together a big project like that, things
Yeah.
that you have to think about for a year before they happen. That's not for the weak, for the people who really want to hang in there and, blood, sweat, and tears and all that. So
Yes, yes, yeah, no, it's just, I think strength in numbers, like I'm so honored this year. I've said it before, just the phenomenal quality of like your submissions, other people's
thank you.
submissions, just I'm blown away because it's really like half of the more than half of the screenplays that I've read, I feel should be on Netflix tomorrow.
Wow.
Like, yeah, just like that, like, why isn't this out there already? Why aren't there more eyes on this film? So like anything we could do, to kind of push the needle,
Yeah.
push the needle forward a little bit. Why not? Let's do it,
Why not? Why not? Fantastic. Great.
Yeah.
Well, I hope the festival goes easy and no complications, and
Thank
you don't have to do some of the things I had to do to get the film made. Dash in and dash out, and everything hopefully comes
Yeah.
together. It's the third year, right?
Third
So
year.
you're a
Yeah.
pro by now, right? So,
It's the first time with screenings. The last two have been online
ah,
because of COVID, right? I couldn't gather to go. I couldn't be all like,
ah,
everybody,
all right.
let's all go in
Exciting.
a confined space with no windows
Right.
because light can't come in. And
That's right. Oh my goodness. I didn't even think of that. It's not like you can really have an open area for a film,
yeah.
right? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big challenges. But too, I think that you know, during that time of COVID, I feel like people went in two different directions. Either they just hunkered down and sort of, didn't know what to do with themselves and maybe didn't make use of the time. And then there were people who were like, okay, when am I going to have this kind of block of time where I'm
Mhm.
forced to be in one place and just get some things done? And I feel like, you know, maybe there's a burst of creativity out there because of that, even though we were all in those conditions, for too long. So
Definitely. It was either your crowd was either they sat on the couch eating German meatballs or they learned German,
right,
It was
exactly. Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
I was like, we got to stay alive, try not to eat too much. And boy, I'm never going to get a block of time like this again. So I have a corporate job that's pretty, it's demanding and stuff. So to have that time where all of a sudden you're home and you're not commuting and all those wasted hours of getting there and back and all of that, it was another 4 hours every day that I had
Oh,
to create
glorious.
something, do something. And yeah, so we don't want that to happen again, of course, but
God forbid. Yes. Yeah.
yeah, yay you for keeping the festival going during that tough time. So
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, thank you for creating when, we all could have just cowered in a corner waiting for it.
could have, yeah, sure enough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
I want to thank you so much again, Mari. You're just
Thank
such a
you.
joy to speak with, and I've
Thank
thoroughly
you.
enjoyed all your submissions,
I
Sibling Rule,
appreciate
the
it.
script and the film, and here I hope you're queer from Jamaica.
Yeah.
I love the title. I know I'm
It's
butchering it
greetings
right
from
now.
Jamaica. Wish you were queer. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yep.
Beautiful. And yeah,
Thank
no, it
you.
was another moving submission. Again, one of the ones I thought this should be on Netflix.
Thank
Um,
you.
yes. So
Thank you. I like the
beautiful.
multi-generational thing. That I love too, is just seeing like all the different layers of families, and that's important to me too. Not just the gay stuff, but it just to have a rom-com that isn't typical, that has a family that has all different types of people, and I like to throw the Italian stuff in too.
I love the Italian stuff, and I loved what you touched on there too with the generational, because it's I do feel like, in films, all we see is if you're not 22 and beautiful,
Yep.
then you have no career.
That's right.
Or, I hear actors speak, they'll say, their stock went down because they passed 30 or something. And I'm just like, oh my God, you're not a
So sad.
commodity.
Yeah,
No
it's so
one
sad.
is. We're all just,
Yeah.
individual souls, doing the best we can, I believe.
Yeah. Think of all the
Um,
things that happen to you, that happens in a life after the age of like 30 or even after 40 and 50. Like so much life happens during that time period. And the fact that it's all about the people in their 20s, and I just feel like, again, just the ageism too is like, that's an underserved um area of storytelling, I think. So
Oh yeah, yeah, and you'll always hear, like, I think it's funny, like you'll hear people say, referring to older people, those people, like there's something alien, like those
yeah,
older people, or
right. I mean,
like
we're all gonna be older, and we all have, parents and grandparents, and it's and if you're a sucker for a love story, love can happen at any age.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
I like to see
Yeah,
that kind of thing depicted, and it's not depicted enough, you know.
exactly. Very well
So
said. Yeah.
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 So
Oh,
thank
you're
you.
amazing. I could talk to you
No,
for
thank
hours, but
you. Yeah, same here, same here. You can throw any question at me you wish, but I'm assuming you probably have other people to chat with, but just it's been great.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for being a part of this festival. And yes,
Thank you.
congratulations. You're one of the you're in the running to win 3 of the 4 categories. So I mean,
That's
thank you.
crazy. That's crazy. All right, so I'm just finding out now then that the quarterfinalist is just a step. So,
Yeah,
woo,
but yeah, no, like the first step, yeah, I've been
that's
contacting people,
exciting.
obviously, but like, like I said, I'm just floored. I'm just grateful for all the submissions, because truly
Yeah,
just to see, how unique everyone brings something to the table.
yeah, yeah.
Um, you
Bravo for
know,
everybody. Good luck to everybody. I'm just
yes,
excited for whoever, makes it to the finish line and in the first place, second place, whatever. It's all great.
yes,
Love it. Because if they're in
yes,
this festival, then it's probably something, that appeals to people looking for this type of content, which I feel like I was desperately looking for this content my whole entire life.
uh,
I will tell you one other thing, if you have one more second.
sure, sure.
My sister and I used to have to go from Rhode Island. We'd have to get in the car when we were younger, in our, 20s. We'd have to get in the car and we'd have to drive to Massachusetts to some little you know, tiny little film, a theater, to see a movie that had a story about two women in a relationship. It
Wow.
was just never, you couldn't even find it in the state I was living in. And or we'd have to go the other direction to Connecticut to see something. And it's funny, we would enter that theater and we'd see our friends from Rhode Island and from Massachusetts,
Wow.
because there were no other movies like it. So that's just what I remember, as being young and seeing, like, I can't see myself anywhere, not being represented anywhere. And imagine, um, to the straight folks listening, if all you saw were stories about gay people, gay people, gay people, gay people, and you never saw a man loving a woman, can you even imagine how that would feel, that you
Right.
don't see that out there? And, anyway, it's,
Yeah, no, it's truly sad. It's truly sad. Of course, I could only imagine how, isolating and separatist, and it's
sure.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
yeah.
So
No,
let's get out there and make our stories, is the point, right?
there you go.
Let's not wait. Let's not wait for somebody to do it.
There you
So,
go.
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Uh, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much again. Just your joy. Thank
Thank
you.
you. You are as well.
Thank you.
Please keep in touch. Love talking with you.
I definitely will. Thank you so much again for your time. Thank you, and
Thank
your
you for your time.
submissions. Thank you,
Thank
love.
you.